विता इंट्रो भी कर देना।
Good afternoon, students. Today we have with us Dr. Vinita Katiyar. She is Assistant Director at Regional Services Division, IGNOU. And today's topic is Environmental Governance and Policies and International and National Scenario. We welcome you, Dr. Vinita.
Thank you, Dr. Rita.
वीडियो ऑन नहीं किया मैम।
Video is just a minute. Is it okay?
It is okay now.
Yeah, it is okay.
Shall I start?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, start.
Okay. So good afternoon to all. And as Dr. Rita said, topic of today's discussion is environmental governance and policies and international and national scenario. So we will discuss about how these policies came into existence, how these policies are formed, and what are the uses of applications of these policies in managing the environmental issues and challenges. So now, first of all, before moving ahead, it is very important to understand what is governance. So governance means you can say includes all the components by which an organization is controlled and operates, and its functioning means carried out its functioning. So this is the means part of the governance. Without any systematic governing process, without any systematic governance, it is difficult to achieve the objective of any organization, any means institutions. So governance is very important in running, in functioning of any kind of organization, whether it is government organization, whether it is educational system, or whether it is company, private company, we can say private company. So it is a mechanism by which people who are associated with this system, with any system, are hold responsible, accountable to any its activities which are being carried out by any organization. It provides rights, responsibilities, and all operations of its system. Sorry. There is why governance is needed. It is very important. हमें ये जानना बहुत जरूरी हो जाता है कि why these are important. So these laws, policies should be in place for effective achievement, implementation of objectives and goal of any organization, as I've already discussed. And governance are based on the policies, and which are very integral system of any organization. So what are the policies? We should know what are the policies. Policy kya hote hain, and why these are important in processing or functioning of any organization. It is a strategic plan of action which is chosen by a government, a company, or any organization. It provides decision and achieve rational outcome, normally referred to as either a procedure or protocol. Means it's a part of the procedure or protocol. Suppose we are planning any means activity, we are planning setting any unit, any means environmental issue or institution, whatever we are going to plan, executing anything, then we have to set our objective. And to fulfill those as an objective, we have to place the policy, and we have to prepare policies, and it should be in place, proper place, so that we can achieve our objective. So these are very important. The governance and policy both are very important in running any kind of institution. So अगर हम इनको समझना चाहते हैं तो policies can be understood as political environmental management financial and administrative mechanisms arranged to reach explicit goals. Why policies are needed? Requires for sustainable development, environmental policies should be formulated with utmost care because environmental issues are very important. So whenever we are framing or forming any policies related to environment, we have to understand each and every aspect of environment, whether it is at the level of the local level, regional level, national level, or even globally. We have to think about all these aspects. And now we can say governance is the process of any organization and policy is the art of that governance. Means without having systematic policy in place, we cannot imagine a robust governing robust governance for any organization. Now, what is the uses of policy when we talk about the environmental issues, environmental challenges, environmental management? So, sustainable development and environment and green policy. So we have to understand what are the uses of these policies in context of environment. So before going ahead, I would like to share here with some important terms like political ecology, social ecology, which having its importance in developing policies and framing laws for environment management. So what is political ecology? Political ecology refers to the social and political conditions surrounding the causes, experiences, and management of environmental issues. Without political involvement, we cannot think about environment management because all the policies and governance are being are under the domain of the political system in of any country. किसी भी country के political system को अगर हम देखते हैं तो वही सारी जो important laws, important framework जो भी होता है, it is prepared by the government only. So that, and government is of course political system, which means government is constituted by a systematic political system. So political ecology means when we mix the politics with the ecological issues. Ecology means environmental issues. So this is called the political ecology. Politics of ecology in the sense of political activism. If we enter the ecology in politics or politics in ecology, vice versa, then it gives the sense of responsibility of the politicians for environmental issues, means to address the environmental issues, to understand the environmental problems of their nation. So politics and ecology, it should be mixed, and means these two dimensions, domain of governance should be come together. And when they mix, they develop deep green environmentalism, which is required to have green policies. हम सभी लोग जानते हैं, now we talk about the eco-friendly, we talk about the green corridor, we talk about the green system, green building. Why we use this term? Because green is it's a symbol of kind of wellness, healthiness, and environment is directly related to the health of the all its components, whether it is living beings, whether it is plants, humans, and animals, and abiotic factors are also there. So these are all mixed together and form a systematic environmental ecological system. And green policy is related to this system. So if we define the green policy, it is a commitment to have sustainable development and simultaneously managing the environmental resources. So it has importance in sustainable development. And the term is come into existence during the 1970, when all the world, entire world was thinking about the to have some kind of systems so that they can protect the environmental, क्योंकि उसके पहले environment को बहुत ज़्यादा just for the development it has been used excessively, and उस समय तक problems आने लगी थी. Then they have started to think in the direction that there should be something so that we can protect, we can preserve our environment. Before that there was no such kind of any awareness कि हमें environment protect करना चाहिए, and environment is so much important for the humans. And now another term, which is deep ecology. What is deep ecology? An environmental philosophy that promotes the inherent worth of all living beings, regardless of their instrumental utility to human needs, and the restructuring of modern human societies in accordance with such ideas. It is a part of the sustainable development. I think sustainable development is a very common term, and today we all know about what is sustainable development. So deep ecology related to the a kind of approach of towards the sustainable development. Conservation and green politics, it is also part of sustainable development. It is a diverse philosophical, social and political movement for addressing environmental issues. Conservation. If we think about the conservation of natural resources, we think about the conservation of our environment, we have to, our political system, our politicians should also think in this direction. They should be dedicated to do something, whatever they can do. Without their involvement in this field, it is difficult to have proper system, proper management system, so that we can conserve our environment. So it is very important, and an essential element of environmental movement, also including social ecological movement.
Okay.
We were talking about the politicians, importance of politician, importance of politics or political issues in environmental management. Now there is a part of the social ecology, means when society, when community are involved in managing the environmental issues, addressing the environmental difficulties, challenges, then it become part of the social ecology, or we can say this is the social ecology. And the Chipko movement is one of the example of social ecology, when society moved to save their environment. So this is the social ecology. Now, technocentric approach to the green movement. During the 1970, 1980, we were talking about there were two dimensions, political ecology and social ecology. After 19, or we can say after 20th, technological advancement has led to the technocentric approach towards the green movement, means to save the environment. Their techniques were technical involvement was there to create some kind of management strategies, to develop management strategies. So this is the technocentric approach, when the modern techniques are involved in managing the environmental challenges, environmental issues, or controlling the environmental pollution like that. So this is that era. This is the time when we are focused on this approach as well. And in this technique, advanced techniques are using for managing the environmental issues, and also simultaneously economic growth भी equally important हो जाती है. तो technical approach का part यही है कि आप one side you have to see the economic growth, economic development, and another side you have to keep in your mind protection of environment. So this is the time now when the two things are going together and we are thinking in this direction. वो अलग बात है कि प्रॉपर बहुत ज्यादा इम्प्लीमेंटेशन नहीं हो पाता है, बहुत सारे इश्यूज आते हैं एट द लेवल ऑफ द लोकल लेवल, रीजनल लेवल एंड इवन पॉलिटिकल स्फीयर एज वेल. बट दिस इज a kind of approach की involvement of technique, one side in economic development and another side is protecting the environment. So technocentric environmentalists seek to preserve the environment through the establishment of international institutions, the use of economic and market instruments, and the development of clean and green technology, as I have discussed about this. ग्रीन इकोलॉजी मैंने पहले भी इसका पॉलिटिकली एंड सोशल इकोलॉजी के साथ में द टर्म व्हिच आई हैव ऑलरेडी डिफाइंड अर्लियर कि व्हाट आर द मींस पॉलिटिकल इकोलॉजी. दीज ऑल द टर्म्स आर एसोसिएटेड विद ईच अदर. वी कैन से कि environment protection or environment conservation or sustainable development cannot be imagined without the involvement of political system, social system, community, or considering the economic aspect. तो ये 4 part है. These are the integral part of environment management. Or these all the terms, whether it is green ecology, deep ecology, social ecology, political ecology, or technocentric approach, all are connected with the sustainable development and green policy. So these are the aspects are being involved in framing the strategies so that we can manage the environment. And these are not being considered nationally, internationally भी इन पार्ट्स पर इन्वॉल्वमेंट, इन पार्ट्स को इंक्लूड करके ही सारी पॉलिसीज जो बनी है, सारे फ्रेमवर्क जो तैयार हुए, all are based on inclusion of these all components of the society. So that we can say green ecology, the commitment towards the sustainability and towards the environment management. So this is the basic principle behind the green ecology कि आपको sustainable development भी करना है, क्योंकि economy भी you have to maintain the economy on the other side without disturbing the environment, because we have to preserve environment for our present generation or considering the uses of the future generation. So after Rio Conference 1992, every green policy was developed keeping in mind Agenda 21 and keeping in mind the Millennium Development Goals. ये अभी हम we will discuss in the subsequent sections of this presentation. Now, environment protection at international level. As I have already discussed, during the 1917-80, entire globe was thinking about the protection of the environment and conservation of the natural resources, because these were the 2 key challenges which were emerged during that time, since people were seeing some negative effect of the disturbance of the environment across the world. बहुत सारे negative effect, जैसे अभी भी हम we always talk about the climate change, effect of the climate change, and तो ये उसी टाइम से सारा जो थोड़ा थोड़ा करके emerge हो रहा था, and accordingly people were thinking in this direction कि how to mitigate these challenges, how to control these issues. And for this a significant feature of international politics, the growing concern with environment protection, as I have already told, and the entire political system is entire different nations come together to think about this, to discuss about it, that how to protect the environment. There should be some strategies, there should be some mechanism, there should be some process to protect the environment. So it was the major political issues during that time across the globe, not only in nationally but internationally as well, because majority of the countries were thinking how to control these issues, because without development it is not possible to maintain the economy or for growth. But simultaneously, environment is also equally important. So to control this, to have some strategies from 1970 to 1990, even till today, there was some major international conferences were held across the globe. I would like to share here some of the important conferences with the students. First one is United Nations Conference on the Human Environment, which was held first on Stockholm in 1972. The next one is World Commission on Environment and Development, Brundtland Commission, 1987. It was a commission which submitted its report, Our Common Future, and from this report, the Sustainable Development term was come into existence. Another is United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, Rio de Janeiro. I have already told in my previous slide about the Agenda 21. Agenda 21 was the outcome of this conference, which was held in Brazil in 1992, which is we can say the turning point towards the environment and development, or environment protection, environment management. And next one is General Assembly Special Session on the Environment, which was held in New York in 1997. Kyoto Protocol held in, it was the extended form of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, which is shortly known as UNFCCC. Kyoto Protocol में भी discussion हुआ था कि we have to minimize the CO2 emission and just control the climate change, the climate disturbance. The next is World Summit on Sustainable Development, which was held in Johannesburg Summit, which is also known as Johannesburg Summit, held in 2002 in South Africa. UN Conference on Sustainable Development, also known as Rio Plus 20 2012 Conference, and United Nations Framework for Climate Change, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, Paris Agreement 2015, United Nations Sustainable Development Summit, New York 2015, and recently all we know about Climate Change Conference, or which is known as COP26, which was held in Glasgow and October, November 2021, and our Indian Prime Minister was also addressed there. Now the significance of Agenda 21 and across the globe, it is very important to know. जो 1992 में Rio de Janeiro में जो conference हुई थी, what was the significance of that conference? So in that conference, all the issues deliberated, detailed by all the nations, and the outcome was come in the form of the Agenda 21. It is a unique moment in diplomatic history because the presidents or prime ministers of all the different nations were presented there, and this was the discussed and framed as agenda. There was some developed some strategies, some principles to control the, to preserve the, to protect the environment. और उनको एक प्रिंसिपल के फॉर्म में पूरा बुकलेट बनाया गया, डॉक्यूमेंट प्रिपेयर किया गया, and 700 pages document was there, and which has 4 sections, and it was a global plan of action कि ये एक particular country के लिए नहीं था, it was planned for entirely means globe, and it has 4 sections, and 4 sections are means first one is इसमें social and economic dimension, second section is conservation and management of resources for development, and third section is strengthening the role of major groups, and fourth section is means of implementation. So here we can see that all the segment of the society, of the community, of political structure are included in this document. Means कि आपको society को भी involvement होना है, जब social and economic dimensions भी लाना है, conservation of management, we have to think about the conservation and management, and strengthening the role of measurement, whether the what is the role of the NGO, what is the role of the government, what is the role of the academicians, scientists, educationists, environmentalists. तो इनका क्या रोल होता है, क्या रोल हो सकता है, it was this section was also included in this these Agenda 21 principles, and how to implement these principles across the globe to manage to maintain the environment and natural resources. So this is a guiding document for different countries towards the sustainability through the 21st centuries. As I told, is compassing virtually every sector affecting environment and development. देखिए सारे जो भी sectors है सबको इसमें involve किया गया था, जो कि इसमें environment और development में उनका whatever the role are there. I will share here with some principles. So I have not included all principles here in this PPT because these are very lengthy principles. 2-3 principles I have included in this PPT. So first one is human beings are at the center of concerns for sustainable development. Of course, humans की development की process से humans are involved, and on the other side or in contrary, humans को ही एक along with other living beings, humans are also need a healthy and productive life, means require a healthy and productive surrounding, so that they can survive, they can sustain peacefully with good health and in harmony environment, harmonious environment. So this is the first principle कि human जो होता है वो part of the sustainable, the center part of the sustainable development है, and accordingly we have to think about the using the environment and keeping in mind the sustainable development. Principle 2, interest responsibility to ensure that development activities within their jurisdiction or control do not cause damage to the environment of the other countries. If you are doing, means if any country is doing some development activities, they should keep in mind, they should consider that their activity should not damage the environment of the other countries. जैसे suppose अगर हम मान लीजिए हम किसी border उस एरिया पे बैठे हैं, अगर हम कुछ we are planning to develop some industry, तो the industry should not damage to the next जो हम our neighboring country, it should not be damaged. Suppose we are जैसे हम चाइना का एक हम live example है कि चाइनीज जो बॉर्डर पर बहुत सारी एक्टिविटीज ऐसे करती हैं कि सराउंडिंग डिस्टर्बेंस होता है, तो दिस इज अगेंस्ट द प्रिंसिपल ऑफ द एजेंडा 21. तो वी शुड keep in mind, if we are doing such kind of activity, any country is doing such kind of development activity, they should consider the they should keep in mind the concern of the neighboring country. सो दिस इज द प्रिंसिपल 2। ये बहुत सारी जैसे छोटी कंट्रीज के साथ में होता है, तो इसलिए ये इस प्रिंसिपल को भी बहुत अच्छी तरह से इसमें फोकस किया गया था एजेंडा 21 में। The next is principle 3, development in such a way that the needs of present and future generations should be on priority. This is the key feature of the sustainable development, कि we should use the natural resources in such a way that it should not be exhausted and it should be remain for the use of present generation and for the use of the future generation, because they also have the right to enjoy the natural use of applications or sources of natural resources. So it should be in mind कि जब भी हम कुछ भी डेवलपमेंट करते हैं, we have to consider present and future generations. I have included 3 principles only. There are 21 principles, and so due to the length of the presentation, I did not include here. Now, agenda in 1997, the UN General Assembly held a special session to apprise the status of Agenda 21. मतलब 22 में जब ये formation हुआ था, develop हुआ था, and all the signatory countries implemented these agenda in their respective countries, and after that a status was discussed in a General Assembly session in 1997. So the summary of this agenda is just judicial use of natural resources, restrict the emission or release of undesirable substances in any ecosystem and components of the ecosystem like air, water, soil, whatever, considering the needs of future generation, and it is the fundamental duties of each and every citizen to keep their environment safe, secure, and clean. So this is the summary of these agenda. Next important development in formulation of strategies for environment management is the Millennium Development Goal. And in this September 2000, the world leaders met at the United Nations headquarters in New York. And during this meeting, 189 member states of the United States discussed and drawn the action plan that is called the Millennium Development Goals. And this was signed by the 147 heads of state and different nations. Millennium Development Goal has 8 goals to be achieved by 2015. इसमें जो पूरे Millennium Development Goal है, इसमें 8 goals है, और it was decided during the meeting that all these goals should be achieved by 2015. And these are divided into 18 quantifiable targets that are measured by 48 indicators. So this is the structure of the Millennium Development Goal, how this was developed and how this was implemented. So these are the goals, 8 goals. First one is eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. Means जो भी countries में भूख है और गरीबी है, especially in African countries, it should be eradicated. And जो developed countries है, they should help the developing countries to implement this. Goal 2, achieve universal primary education. Universal primary education should be essential for all the people. Third, promote gender equity and empower the women. Gender inequality बहुत ज़्यादा है, अगर हम अफ्रीका अपने इंडिया से में भी देखते हैं and other African countries वगैरह में भी देखते हैं तो gender equality should be there to empower the women so that the development should be proper and equal. Fourth one is reduce child mortality. Fifth one is improve maternal health. Sixth one is combat HIV and AIDS और HIV का रोकथाम, malaria and other such kind of diseases. अब तो इसमें कोरोना भी we can include the corona as well. And goal 7, ensure environmental sustainability. And goal 8, develop a global partnership for development. So these are the 8 goals, Millennium Development Goals, which were framed for sustainable development and for environment protection. The key features of Millennium Development Goal, it combines many of the most important pledges made independently at international conferences and summits in the 1990s into a single package. It recognizes the interconnectedness of growth, poverty reduction, and long-term development. Acknowledges that development is built on democratic governance, the rule of law, human rights, respect, and peace and security. So just main objective of मिलेनियम डेवलपमेंट गोल का यही था कि हमें गरीबी दूर करना, हमें एक इक्वलिटी एस्टैब्लिश करना एंड डेमोक्रेटिक गवर्नेंस लाना, सो दैट जो भी डायरेक्ट इनडायरेक्ट रिलेटेड है इन्वायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शन से, इन्वायरमेंट मैनेजमेंट से, we have to consider, we have to fix that aspect so that environment should be maintained and managed properly and systematically. Ecological imperialism, it is the part is very important, क्योंकि अगर हम हमारे अब मीन्स करंट सिनेरियो में हम एक बहुत ज्यादा आजकल न्यूज में आता भी है, हम सभी लोग सुनते हैं चीन की विस्तारवादी नीति. There are many countries which do such kind of imperialism, and in context of the environmental aspect of the political domination of territorial areas and subjugated peoples, means accidental or deliberately, अगर आप किसी भी कंट्री की बाउंड्री में आप एंटर कर जाते हैं एंड वहां आप डोमिनेंस अपना आपका ही डोमिनेंस हो जाता है, जो एग्जिस्टिंग पॉपुलेशन एंड जो वहां पे कम्युनिटी है वो खत्म होने लगती, कोलैप्स होने लगती, डिस्ट्रॉय होने लगती. सो दिस इज द पार्ट ऑफ द इको इंपेरियलिज्म. जैसे अभी हम अगर सपोज हम कोरोना का ही एक बात करते तो एक्सीडेंटली ही इट केम इन डिफरेंट कंट्रीज, क्योंकि एक्सीडेंटली ही अब कंट्रीज में आया और एज ए रिजल्ट सारा जो सिस्टम है सबका कोलैप्स हो गया, पूरा ज्यादातर कंट्रीज का सिस्टम कोलैप्स हो गया. So this is the ecological imperialism. It applied to the environmental dimensions of economic and political domination of poorer countries by global superpowers and institutions. जैसे as I talked about the China की जो पॉलिसी होती है कि वो किसी भी कंट्री में जाके अपना कुछ एक सेटअप तैयार करता है, देन उसको अपने उसमें कैप्चर और कवर करने में लेता है. तो यही रहता है कि अगर कोई भी एक्सीडेंटली आ गया या डिलिबरेटली आ गया, किसी भी किसी की बाउंड्री में एंटर कर गया, किसी के डोमेन में चला जाता है, उसके बाद वो वहां पर एस्टेब्लिश हो जाता है और जो नेचुरल एग्जिस्टेंस है उसको खत्म कर देता है. तो ये एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट है, स्पेशली इन कंटेक्स्ट ऑफ द ecology and environment. So it should also be considered while we are talking about environment management. एंड मोर पॉपुलरली अगर हम इसमें बात करते हैं इन कंटेक्स्ट ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट, तो इट इज नोन एज नॉर्थ वर्सेस साउथ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, कि नॉर्थ जो कंट्रीज हैं और उसमें साउथ का जो मीन्स जो डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज और डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज हैं उनका क्या रोल रहता है इसमें इंपेरियलिज्म में. इट टॉक्स अबाउट दिस. इट इंक्लूड्स, अगर हम इसके करेक्टरिस्टिक्स पे हम आते हैं इकोलॉजिकल इंपेरियलिज्म में, तो इट इंक्लूड्स द ज्योग्राफिकल इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ non-native organisms such as disease pathogens, as I have already discussed about the corona disease pathogens, crops and livestock, and in recent years the transfer of toxic waste, nuclear contaminants and other hazardous material, the ecological interaction of the introduced organisms and materials with human activities that often cause environmental degradation. We can compare this point with the history of the corona. The role of empirical institutions historically, often those part of colonialism on environmental aspects. The work of the environmental science says in the context of imperialism, in some cases for the goal of conservation, the use of ideas of the environment by persons and groups that resist the rule of empire. So as I have already told, अगर हम इंडिया की जो हम ब्रिटिशर टाइम में जाते हैं, तो इट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ दैट इंपेरियलिज्म कि ब्रिटिशर्स यहाँ पर आए, उन्होंने एक छोटी सी अपनी कंपनी बनाई एंड देन ग्रेजुअली दे हैव कवर्ड और कैप्चर्ड एंटायर नेशन. और जो इनका अपना इंडिया का अपना जो एग्जिस्टेंस था, जो अपनी मीन्स जो उनकी एक्चुअल पॉपुलेशन थी, उसके सारे राइट्स उन्होंने ले लिए, सारे खत्म कर दिए. तो और पूरा जो सोशल स्ट्रक्चर था उसको कोलैप्स कर दिया, कम्युनल स्ट्रक्चर, सोशल स्ट्रक्चर कोलैप्स कर दिया. एंड एज ए रिजल्ट इंडिया डिवाइडेड इन 2 countries. The another aspect of this, when we talk about the technocentric approach, it leads to the corporate social responsibility. क्योंकि टेक्निकल की जब हम बात करते हैं तो हमारे पास कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर का भी, कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर जो होता है वो बहुत मीन्स इम्पोर्टेंट होता है टेक्नोलॉजिकल उसमें फील्ड में, क्योंकि ज्यादातर जो कंपनीज है, एमएनसीज है, मल्टीनेशनल कंपनीज है, बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज है, वो एक कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर का पार्ट है. So when we talk about technocentric approach, corporate social responsibility has a means important place here, and it is the part of the green policy of any firm or organization. Means earlier I have talked about the green policy, deep ecology, मीन्स पॉलिटिकल इकोलॉजी. तो एक कॉर्पोरेट सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी भी, जब भी हम कोई भी कॉर्पोरेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन होता है, वो एक अपने यहाँ भी एक सोशल उसको वो भी फिक्स करता है कि उनका ये एक सेगमेंट है, ये एक पार्ट है, वो किसी सोशल एक्टिविटीज में इन्वॉल्व होगा. तो दिस इज द मीन्स उनका एक जो एक्टिविटी होती है जिससे कि वो सोशली कुछ कंट्रीब्यूट कर सके, इन्वायरमेंटल के लिए भी कुछ कंट्रीब्यूट कर सके. And it is defined by this Heidegger in 2010. It is a program of action where a firm's objective is to maximize its profits and at the same time to contribute to the improvement of social welfare. मतलब one side they are thinking about their economic growth, and another side they are also thinking for the social development, social growth, social improvement. So, and they are also responsible for the society. So this is the corporate social. वो एक ही डायरेक्शन नहीं है उनका कि वो एक ही साइड सोच रहे हैं कि नहीं हमें सिर्फ अपना बेनिफिट ही देखना है, whether society कहीं भी जाए they don't care. नहीं, they are thinking in 2 direction. One side for economic development, their economic development, and other side for the social welfare. European Commission states that the voluntary commitment of a firm to contribute to social and environmental goals. यूरोपियन कमीशन ने इसको इस तरीके से डिफाइन किया है कि एक वॉलंटरली कमिटमेंट होता है किसी भी फर्म का to contribute the society, to contribute for the environment. So environmental responsibility is an implied part of the social responsibility. Of course, because we are the part of the society and society depends on the environment. So we means environmental responsibility is part of the social responsibility. And all citizens of any country should take this responsibility. Corporate social and environment responsibility. It is commitment of a firm to contribute to both social and both the environment. तो एक थोड़ा सा elaborate हो गया corporate social responsibility से they are thinking towards the environment. So this is the corporate social environmental responsibility. CSER includes regulatory compliances, voluntarily initiatives, accountability, communication and transparencies, as well as institutionalization of environmental and social issues. अगर हम लोग एक कॉर्पोरेट सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी अगर हम देखते हैं हमें बहुत सारे बड़े जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं दे फॉर्म देयर एनजीओज मींस बहुत सारी बड़ी बड़ी जो कंपनीज हैं they form their NGOs and through their NGOs they work for the social welfare, they work for the environmental conservation, they work for the renewable energy sources. So these are the part of the corporate social responsibility as well as corporate social and environmental responsibility, and this promotes the sustainable development. So this is the step towards the sustainable development. So overall discussion, now we can say that environment management is environment management can be done by inclusion of all spheres like political system, like economic development, like educational system, society, communities. Okay. Development, if we are doing the development, we have to think all these dimensions. And the awareness is very important. अगर हम जब भी हम development की बात करते हैं, जब भी हम environment management की बात करते हैं, दोनों ही चीजों की बात करते हैं, तो awareness बहुत जरूरी है, बहुत important है कि हमें think for the environment while doing any development activities. कि हम कुछ भी ऐसी activity कर रहे हैं, suppose अगर हम दिल्ली में ही देखते हैं कि हम अभी pollution इस समय बहुत ज्यादा peak पर है, तो वी हैव टू थिंक कि हमें अपनी गाड़ी का कम इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए या हमें मास्क लगाना चाहिए या जो भी इस टाइप के छोटे छोटे मेजर माइनर जो स्टेप्स हैं जो हम अपने लेवल पर ले सकते हैं कर सकते हैं, वी हैव टू डू. कम्युनिटी लेवल पे वी हैव टू मींस अवेयर द कम्युनिटी एज वेल. दिस इज आवर ड्यूटी टू अवेयर द कम्युनिटीज, टू अवेयर द पीपल, टू अवेयर द सोसाइटी. यूजेस हम जब भी यूज कर रहे हैं हमारे नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज, हमारे एनवायरमेंटल रिसोर्सेज, वी हैव टू जुडिशियली यूज रिसोर्सेज. एजुकेशन, एनवायरमेंट एजुकेशन इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट विच इज ऑलवेज इग्नोर्ड. अभी अब थोड़ा सा कि हम देखते हैं ज्यादा है, पर बहुत ज्यादा एनवायरमेंट एजुकेशन पर अभी भी फोकस फ्रॉम माय पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू आई थिंक इट इज नॉट देयर. इट शुड बी मोर मींस फोकस्ड. Policies, there are policies in place, but it should be implementation is very important. तो policies के साथ साथ इनका implementation भी होना चाहिए. And the role of the corporate society. Corporate society का role अभी मैंने उसमें already defined, means already discussed in the above slides. Corporate जो sectors है, what they can do for social welfare, what they can do for the environmental welfare. Next topic in national environment policy. Abhi tak whatever we have discussed, it is related to the actions which have been taken internationally. Now what strategies have been planned in our country. This is the first one is national environmental policy. So how it came in existence? the government of India has adopted various measures for conservation of upgradation and protection of the environment. जैसे जैसे जो इंटरनेशनली कॉन्फ्रेंसेस ऑर्गेनाइज होती गई, पार्टिसिपेशन जब इंडिया ने किया, आफ्टर दैट द पॉलिसीज and means national policies were also formed कि अलग अलग पॉलिसीज जो थी नेशंस में कि एयर प्रोटेक्शन की क्या होनी चाहिए, वाटर की क्या होनी चाहिए, और जो डिफरेंट फॉरेस्ट की क्या होनी चाहिए, वाइल्ड लाइफ कंजर्वेशन की पॉलिसीज होनी चाहिए, अकॉर्डिंगली सारी जो पॉलिसीज है उसके बाद बनती चली गई. And as I said, India is an original signatory to the Salman Declaration of the United Nations Conference held in Stockholm on Human Environment in 1972. So after that conference, India has started to think in the direction that there should be some kind of policies, some kind of strategies, so that we can also protect our environment. And 4th and 5th year plan में इसको पूरा मतलब एक प्रोसेस में लिया गया और इस डायरेक्शन में सोचा गया. एंड आफ्टर दैट इन 1985 a full-fledged ministry environment and forestry came into existence. तो जितना भी environmental issues थे पूरे country के, which were means undertaken by the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. So this was the first major initiative which was taken by the government. Why there is need of national environmental policy? National environmental policy की जरूरत हमें क्यों महसूस हुई? To conserve the environmental resources, to secure the livelihoods and well-being of all, to ensure that people dependent on particular resources obtain better livelihoods from the practice of conservation than from the degradation of the resources. मतलब जो भी डिपेंडेंट है डायरेक्टली नेचुरल रिसोर्सेस के, उनको इस ढंग से यूज करना चाहिए, उनको जो प्रैक्टिस होना चाहिए कि वो उसको कंजर्व करें, रादर डिग्रेड दोज रिसोर्सेस. मींस यूज तो करना है बट एक कंजर्वेटिव मैनर में, जिससे कि वो डिग्रेड ना हो. उनको बचाना भी है, उनको यूज भी करना है. So these are the need for the origin of the national environmental policy. Policies for environment management. कहते अगर इंडिया में जो environment management के लिए कौन कौन सी policies बनी है, some are I have mentioned here. And the National Forest Policy 1988, the National Conservation Strategy and Policy Statement on Environment and Development 1992, the Policy Statement on Abatement of Pollution, same year it was framed, which is in 1992, the National Environmental Policy 2006, and other sector policies like agriculture sector ki agriculture policy 2000 came into existence in 2000, National Population Policy again in 2000, National Water Policy 2002. तो all these policies का मतलब just का जो use है, just to these are the strategies for conserving the natural resources and for managing the environment. पॉलिसीज अभी नहीं, ब्रिटिश टाइम पर भी इंडिया में पॉलिसीज थी. अगर हम पूरा देखते हैं तो ब्रिटिशर्स ने जो कुछ पॉलिसीज बनाई थी, दीज आर शोर न्यूसेंस एक्ट 1853, द इंडियन पेनल कोड 1860, द एलिफेंट प्रिजर्वेशन एक्ट 1879, इंडियन एसेसमेंट एक्ट 1882, द फिशरीज एक्ट 1897, the Factories Act 1897, the Bengal Smoke Nuisance Act 1905, Bombay Smoke Nuisance Act 1912, Wild Bird and Animal Protection Act 1912. तो we can say कि अभी जो policies जो हैं अभी ही डेवलप नहीं हुई है. पहले भी इवन ब्रिटिशर्स टाइम पर भी, ब्रिटिशर्स जो गवर्नमेंट थी उन्होंने भी अकॉर्डिंग टू देयर नीड they thought in this direction and accordingly they framed the policies, different policies. इन्वायरमेंटल पॉलिसी एंड लैंडमार्क डिसीजन इन मॉडर्न इंडिया। जब हम मॉडर्न इंडिया की बात करते हैं, मॉडर्न इंडिया मतलब आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस, तो नेशनल काउंसिल फॉर एनवायरमेंटल पॉलिसी एंड प्लानिंग वाज सेट अप इन 1972 आफ्टर दैट स्टॉकहोम मीटिंग कॉन्फ्रेंस, और जो कि बाद में मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट में कन्वर्ट हो गया। एंड देन द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ द सेंट्रल पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड एंड स्टेट पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड अंडर द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट। तो जो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट डायरेक्टली तो पूरा एकदम से कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकती, इन्होंने अपने एक ऑफिसेस काइंड ऑफ सेट किए, विच इज कॉल्ड द सेंट्रल पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड एंड स्टेट पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड। सेंट्रल लुक आफ्टर द सेंट्रल एक्टिविटीज एंड स्टेट पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड आर लुक आफ्टर द स्टेट एक्टिविटीज। The policy statement for abatement of pollution 1982 by the WWF in 1982, it is just जो abatement of pollution को कंट्रोल करने के लिए ये मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट फॉरेस्ट्री ने इस पॉलिसी को डेवलप किया था। The National Conservation Strategy and Policy Statement on Environment and Development were brought. This is also brought by the MOEF in 1992. Environmental Action Program was formulated in 1993 with the objective for improving environmental services and integrating environmental considerations into development program. And National Environment Policy 2010. These are the some landmark decisions, some important decisions which were taken by the government, which were framed for just managing the environment, conserving the natural resources in India. Now, National Environment Policy, it is very important decision which was taken by the government to have National Environment Policy in place to extend the coverage and fill the gaps that still exist. मतलब इतने सारे जब एक्ट्स और गाइडलाइंस और पॉलिसी होने के बाद भी कुछ गैप ऐसा फील हुआ कि कुछ गैप्स है यहाँ पे which should be filled. So accordingly the policy was developed and implemented. Key feature of this policy, it does not displace but builds on the earlier policies. मतलब जो earlier policies था उनको displace नहीं किया था, उनको discontinue नहीं किया गया था, all were depend on the earlier existing policies. What was the objective? Objective इस policy की क्या है? Conservation of critical environmental resources. First one is this: intra-generational equity, livelihood security for the poor, intergeneration equity, integration of environmental concerns in economic and social development. We were already talking about this aspect in this whole presentation. Efficiency in environmental resources and efficiency in using the environmental resources. Environmental governance और policies हमने starting में ही discuss किया था कि क्यों importance है in managing the environmental issues, in mitigating the environmental challenges. Enhancement of resources for environmental conservation. Principles of NEP 2006. So there are certain principles. क्या principles हैं इनकी? The human beings are at the center of the sustainable development concern. मैंने पहले भी बताया था कि human being जो है वो भी Agenda 21 का जो first principle था वो यही था, जो कि यहाँ पे हमारे नेशनल एनवायरमेंटल पॉलिसी में इंक्लूड किया गया इस प्रिंसिपल को भी। द राइट टू डेवलपमेंट का राइट सबको है, बट दे शुड कंसिडर द सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट, नॉट डेवलपमेंट आप ऐसे ही डेवलप करते चले जा रहे हैं, एनवायरमेंटल डिस्टर्ब करते चले, नो, राइट टू डेवलपमेंट along with the sustainable development. Environment protection is an integral part of the development process. The precautionary approach, economic efficiency, this principle is implemented as polluter pays, cost minimization. मतलब economic efficiency ये कि जो pollution इसको दो पार्ट में डिवाइड करके इसको इम्प्लीमेंट किया गया है. polluter pays, जो जितना ज्यादा pollution emit कर रहा है they have to pay, चाहे वो उसको अपना इम्प्लीमेंटेशन में से पॉल्यूटिंग जो कंट्रोलिंग स्ट्रेटेजी में लगाएं, चाहे वो एज ए पेनल्टी उसमें लगाएं, तो बट दे हैव टू पे. The next one is cost minimization. Cost minimization, if we are just doing something for the environment, the economical aspect is essential to think whenever we are planning any strategy, we are doing making any strategy. Sixth one is entities with incomparable values, legal liabilities, public trust doctrine, decentralization, integration, environmental standard setting, preventive action. So these are the certain principles. I am not going in detail because there is a time constraint. So just some highlights I have mentioned in the presentation. And key principles of 2000 NEP 2006 I have already discussed with you. Means NEP is an effort towards India's commitment to clean environment. As मैंने जब से कहा कि इंडिया भी एक सिग्नेटरी था जितनी भी कॉन्फ्रेंसेस हुई थी, इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंसेस जो कि इन्वायरमेंट को सेफ्टी के लिए, इन्वायरमेंट मैनेजमेंट के लिए, तो इंडिया ऑलवेज कमिटेड to have clean environment, to provide the clean environment, which builds on the various earlier policies which had addressed the challenges of environment and need of sustainable development prior to this policy. Means जो ये entire policy है, which is based on the previous existing policy with some modification, with some improvement. And this is a step to make positive contribution in protection of environment and contribution in protection of environment internationally. Strategies and action. जो NEP है उसकी क्या strategies है और क्या actions है. Strategies, themes and outlines of action to be taken in each focus on both ongoing activities, functions and rules as well as new initiatives that are necessary. So the strategies, regulatory reforms means regulations जो बने हुए हैं, existing strategies हैं, उनको revisit करना और legislative framework तैयार करना. जैसे कि हम सभी जानते हैं ग्रीन ट्रिब्यूनल बना था, वो भी एक इसी डायरेक्शन में लिया गया एक स्टेप था ग्रीन ट्रिब्यूनल की कोई भी एनी लीगल इश्यूज, एनी एनवायरमेंटल इश्यूज चैलेंज किए जा सके. Then a separate court was formed, which is called the Green Tribunal, NGT, National Green Tribunal. तो ये legislative framework का part था. Process related reforms, process related water, air, forest, wildlife protection acts की जो भी acts था, इनको reformation, if it is required, then it is to be reformed or it has been reformed. Framework for legal action, I have already told कि NGT is this one of the step under this NEP. Substantiative reforms, environment and forest clearance. EIA as a principal methodology for pricing and reviewing new project. जो कभी भी अगर कोई भी जैसे suppose environment impact assessment is a kind of methodology, important methodology to assess the value of environment कि अगर आप कोई भी activity कर रहे हैं उससे environment कितना affected हो रहा है नहीं हो रहा है, ज्यादा हो रहा है, कम हो रहा है, तो how to control. So this is the environment impact assessment methodology. कोस्टल एरियाज एंड कोस्टल रिसोर्सेस, इसमें NEP जो है वो कोस्टल एरियाज के को भी उसको इसमें एक इम्पोर्टेंस दिया गया कि कोस्टल एरियाज में क्या इश्यूज हो सकते हैं, हाउ टू एड्रेस, हाउ टू मिटिगेट दोज मींस इश्यूज एंड हाउ टू प्रिजर्व द कोस्टल रिसोर्सेस. So it is also addressed in the NEP. लिविंग मॉडिफाइड ऑर्गेनिज्म, जो हम जेनेटिकली मॉडिफाइड उसकी बात करते हैं, प्लांट्स की जो यूज करते हैं, खाते हैं, पीते हैं, इट ऑल्सो एड्रेसेस. इसकी भी एक पॉलिसी है, फ्रेमवर्क है कि लिविंग मॉडिफाइड ऑर्गेनिज्म जो अगर आप कर रहे हैं, बना रहे हैं जेनेटिकली, उनको चेंज कर रहे हैं जेनेटिकल कंपोजिशन, तो उसका आपको क्या प्रोसीजर फॉलो करनी है और क्या उसका पॉलिसीज है. Environmentally sensitive zones are also defined in this policy. Monitoring of compliances, कि monitoring के बाद क्या compliance होगा, it is also yeah. Use of economic principles in environmental decision making, enhancing and conserving environmental resources, that is land degradation and desert ecosystem, forests and wildlife, biodiversity, traditional knowledge and national heritage, natural heritage, freshwater resources, that is river system, groundwater, wetland, mountain ecosystem, pollution abatement, conservation of man-made heritage. So we can see that the NEP covers all sphere of environmental resources. कोई सा भी पार्ट ऐसा नहीं है जो इस पूरे NEP में कवर नहीं किया गया है. So it is just because we should keep each and every aspect of environment in our mind so that it should be preserved, it should be conserved, it should be maintained, और इसकी जो integrity वो as it is बनी रहे, उसको disturbance ना हो. साथ ही we can do development, we can do some economic activity, जिससे कि हमारी वो activity भी affected now, because without development कुछ भी possible नहीं है कि हम आगे success नहीं हो सकते. But simultaneously we have to consider the environmental conservation as well, environmental protection as well. And ये पूरी NEP जो है पूरा इसी चीज को define करती है. So thus, National Environment Policy is a document of Ministry of Environment and Forestry, which came into existence in 2006. It emphasized the conservation, prevention of degradation, and equity of natural resources. Means कंजर्व भी करना है और प्रिवेंट भी करना है कि डिग्रेड होने से पहले ही आप उसको प्रिवेंट करें तो बेटर रहेगा. अगर डिग्रेडेशन हो जाएगा तो देयर इज नो सेंस. एंड इक्विटी ऑफ नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज, नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज सबके लिए बराबर है और सबका उस पर हक है. उसमें ये नहीं कि आप एनी रेशियल नहीं, कोई गरीब अमीर, इसमें ऐसा कुछ नहीं, कि everybody has equal right to use the natural resources equally and judicially. It argues that environmental degradation often leads to poverty and poor health outcomes among populations. मतलब environmental degradation अगर होता है तो वो गरीबी को भी एक वो देता है, पैदा करता है. साथ ही पुअर हेल्थ कंडीशन भी ऑल नो कि अगर एनवायरमेंट अभी हम दिल्ली में हम देख ही रहे हैं कि जब से एयर क्वालिटी खराब हो रही है, वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट आवर हेल्थ एज वेल. बहुत ज्यादा सेंसिटाइज कर रहे हैं इवन लोगों को भी कि भाई आपको जो क्वालिटी डिग्रेड हो रही है तो आपको क्या प्रॉब्लम्स हो सकती है. इवन कोर्ट, सुप्रीम कोर्ट भी हम सभी देख रहे हैं कि डे टू डे हियरिंग कर रहा है इस एस्पेक्ट को लेकर. गवर्नमेंट आर ट्राइंग टू टेक द मेजर स्टेप्स टू mitigate this, to control this situation, to overcome this situation, but all efforts are being going in well. So thank you. This is the presentation. I think I hope you will understand well. Thank you.